Hi, everybody. Welcome back to today's briefing. It's Sunday, the 29th of October, 6:55 GMT. We just changed our clock, so until North America changes its clocks, there's a 6-hour difference, not a 7. Just to give you the background of what's going on, we're hunkering down. All the hospitals are now, all wards in protected areas, all patients, being taken care of in, shadow clinics and wards in protected zones. Stores are well stocked. It's a very, very weird silence out there. Streets are largely abandoned. It's just strange. It's very weird. We're going to take a look at the immediate. Well, let's take a look at the overall situation. I've long since lost sight of anywhere the Eisenhower is. Thankfully, USNI does not publish it when they're at war. That's a good thing. But this was updated very recently, yet 2 days ago. It still has the Eisenhower in the Eastern Atlantic. The Eisenhower has either, I think it's traversed the Suez and maybe sitting in the Red Sea or somewhere in the Persian Gulf. I don't know. Either way, regardless of where it is, we've got plenty of missile protection in this region for ourselves, for the, this is what we're going to call this the Ibrahim Alliance. And that's pretty much the whole neighborhood except for Iran, Syria, Yemen, and the and the proxy, the Iranian proxies in Lebanon and Gaza. And they're formidable. Don't well, they're formidable. But first, let's just take a quick look at the markets. They are, as you'd expect, actually. The Tel Aviv All Share, that's the most inclusive, not even the S&P 500, like the Russell 2000 in the United States. 15.4%, continuing to fall. Those are serious decline. By the way, I made a mistake the other day. I said a 10% decline is the official definition of a recession. No, that's not correct. I believe the official recession is 2 consecutive quarters of declining growth, GDP growth. 10% decline in a stock index or stock market is the definition of a crash. So I misinformed you about that. I'm sure you're delighted to know that that's the update. Lockheed Martin, 10.6% up. That's only likely to continue in my estimation, probably a lot of other people's. Now, here's something that's a somewhat positive light. And since the war has broken out, the price has risen 3.2%, which is really below the standard deviation of volatility. So that's a distinct indication that the Saudis are playing their role. They're keeping the supplies up. Nobody's short of oil. Volume is not particularly anything since the outbreak war. In fact, it's declined. It's been below average pretty much since the outbreak of the war. So just kissing about average. So that's a good thing. Gold, on the other hand, is clearly in the realm of it's up 8.4% in the last 4 weeks. That's well in the realm of fear. It's just, what is it now? It closed at 1998. It's going to 2000. That's obvious. Question is it going to 2020, 2050? God only knows. But you can expect that long to continue playing out. And this, of course, is again the most indicative and unfortunately, therefore, depressing financial statistic, economic statistic. This is the dollar shekel rate. Again, as the rate goes up, it requires more shekel to buy the 1 unit of the base currency. It's always the base currency is exponent is 1, and the left-hand currency's exponent is what's printed on the vertical axis. And so as it takes more of the right-hand currency to buy the singular one, it weakens. It gets weaker by, in this case, 5.82%. Not encouraging, but hardly anything unexpected. Let's go back to this map. So that's where the forces are. Oh, by the way, just one last thing on the subject of forces. Excuse me one moment. Is the fact that not only are those 2 giant carrier strike groups here, they're what they call ARGs, amphibious ready groups, and these are to uh, beach landing forces, marine expeditionary forces they call themselves, but beach landing forces. What aircraft carriers are to air wings. These amphibious ready groups have 5 giant cargo helicopters on them, and those giant hydrobubble hydrofoil things that can land, I don't know, like 5 2.5 ton trucks, a couple of tanks, hundreds and hundreds of Marines at an unbelievable speed. They travel at something like 50 knots. It's really hard to believe, and they land right on the beach. And so that's there. Ostensibly, my guess again. This is the U.S. has about 1,000 of its forces in Syria. There's a small operation in Syria, and they've got a few forces always rotating around Israel, mostly for training and educational purposes, research, I guess, too, maybe. And so they're all here. The Eastern Mediterranean and probably we know the Red Sea. The Karen intercepted those missiles from Yemen last week in the Red Sea. There's a lot of force here. What I do want to take a look at, though, is we need to now start to take a look at what we're talking about in much more detail. I'm happy to say that. Please don't misinterpret that. The land operation has begun. It's about 2 or 3 days old, and they're doing it in a way that seems highly intelligent to me. Again, I'm my experience is a land soldier, a combat engineer, that an infantry fighter, with engineering crap on my back. And so this seems to be an intelligent approach. They're not moving in en masse. They sent in, that I'm aware of, Wednesday night and Thursday night, probably Friday night too, squads of the best soldiers, the most combat ready, the most combat trained units, with heavy armor and coordinated air force and artillery backup, taking out as much enemy firing positions, ammo dumps, communication centers, all that stuff as they can, and then returning home at the end of the operation, all of them alive. So that already is a huge breakthrough for the IDF, and I'm sure they're. Here, I have some pictures. Here, like this picture here, you can tell here. This is where they're mostly set up. This is slightly north of the Erez crossing, and there's briefings all the time. They're getting briefings all the time. They're learning the techniques that are being applied so far. They're sharing the intelligence, and they're getting ready. I just want to take a look now at this. A couple of people have mentioned they don't. There seems to be some sort of misunderstanding. The news media frequently cites the fact that it's among the densest places on Earth, and yet they are always calling different locations a refugee camp. Everything is a refugee camp. So what I first thought I'd do is take a look, just for general purposes. Let's take a look at Gaza City. Gaza City is the biggest, largest, most literal. It's a city. It's not densely populated. And I just want to point out a few things. They have large solar facilities, solar gathering and solar electric generating facilities here. They have when we get down to Jabalia, they have the big power plant down there, and they have energy storage facilities there too. I want you to see some of the the neighborhoods themselves. This, by the way, is before the war. Okay, I want to fully represent. This is just Google Earth taken off today's server offerings. Jabalia is referred to as a refugee camp. This is a well-established neighborhood. It's even leafy. It's even actually leafy. They've got green. And take a look at these houses. Does this look like a camp to you? These are vilot. All right, these are villas. Or some of them apartment buildings, multifamily apartment buildings. But you can see it's pretty leafy. And even in the outer burbs of Gaza City, there are orchards and farmland. There's industrial sites. Here, I'm much more familiar with the Nuseirat and the Barej camp. We'll just go right into where it says Nuseirat camp. This has streets in it. and built up buildings. Yes, they're very tightly built. That lady, here's an orchard planted, right in this refugee camp, right near here. This particular set of houses is its own personal orchard. It's really, I don't want to say it's beautiful. I don't want to overdo it, but you get my drift, okay? This is what we're up against. So this is where you get the density. How do you have so many people in a refugee camp? Because they're not refugee camps. They're living densely in an urban environment. They call them camps for obvious reasons, but I just want you to see what's going on here. Now, another thing that seems to be, I don't know, I hypothesize here, but it may be possible. I have seen in print that one of the that the strategy is to trap Hamas in its own web of caves and tunnels, destroying whatever access and egress we can find, and forcing them to die within or surrender. I don't know. It seems like a great idea to me. Again, as a foot soldier who would be facing here. Let's take a look now. If we're really looking at this is where they're probably going to. Here, this is the Erez crossing. They're going to have to work their way in here. If they can make it down to this sector, cut it off here, and squeeze them in Gaza, which is obviously the biggest challenge, because you can see, there's farmland out on the outlying areas of the city, but it's not like here, Bourges and Nocera. They're much smaller cities with much, much more rural land around them, beach areas. Here, this is the Wadi Aza. This is considered a possible division zone, to cut this northern sector off. I don't know. But it's going to be difficult. But if that could be a strategy, if that is the strategy, to sort of just squeeze them in Aza, that seems like it would be a good thing to me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for now. That's the update. I'll try and stay in touch. I have been unusually busy, and so we're getting a little intermittent, but I'll do my best to stay in touch. That's the situation. Stay alert, stay aware, stay safe, stay strong, and stay in touch. Bye-bye for now.